So, boys and girls, let's start the second phase of articles. Last session I told you about from article 1 to article 151. We discussed about part 1, which consists of article 1, 2, 3, 4. Part 2 we discussed about article 5 to 11. Then part 3 we had fundamental rights, article 12 to 35. Then directive principles of state policy, we studied directive principles of state policies from article 36 to 51. And then from article 52, you remember all of you, article 52 to article 151 we studied part 5 that included the president, the vice president, the parliament, the attorney general, the comptroller, an auditor general, and above all the Supreme Court. Today in this session we will be studying about the states, which is contained in part 6 of the Indian Constitution. So part 6 chapter 1 is general, 152. In this part, unless the context otherwise requires, the expression state does not include the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, it's been now divided into 2 union territories. Okay, it is not considered as a state now. The elections are held in Jammu and Kashmir. Now Jammu and Kashmir may get the status of statehood shortly in the long run. Chapter 2, the executive, the governor. Now you see, article 52 is studied, India should have a president. Article 153 states that the state should have governors. So governors of state, article 154 executive power of a state, 155 appointment of governor, 156 term of office of governor, 157 qualifications for appointment as governor, 158 conditions of governor office, 159 oath or affirmation by the governor, article 160 discharge of the functions of the governor in certain contingencies, article 161 power of governor to grant pardons etc. and to suspend, remit or commute sentences in certain cases, 162 extent of executive power of state. Then we have got Council of Ministers. See, in our state we have got our Honorable Chief Minister. He is being assisted by the other ministers. So article 163 is the Council of Ministers to aid and advise governor, and article 164 other provisions as to ministers. Now the Advocate General for the state, we have our Advocate General, article 165 Advocate General for the state. Conduct of government business is article 166, conduct of business of the government of a state. Article 167 duties of chief minister as respects the functioning of information to governor etc. So let us recall functions, duties and responsibilities of our Honorable Prime Minister is contained in which article? Article 78. And powers, responsibilities of our Honorable Chief Minister lies under article 167. Okay. Then chapter 3, the state legislature. 168 constitution of legislatures in states, 169 abolition or creation of legislative councils in states, 170 composition of legislative assemblies, 171 composition of legislative council. In our state we do not have legislative council. 172 duration of state legislatures, 170 the qualification for membership of the state legislature, 174 sessions of the state legislature, prorogation and dissolution, 175 right of governor to address and send messages to the house or houses. House or houses means legislative assembly or legislative councils. Special address by the governor, rights of ministers and advocate general as respects the houses. 178 is officers of the state legislature. And who are the officers of the state legislature? The speaker and deputy speaker of the legislative assembly. 179 vacation and resignation of and removal from the offices of speaker and deputy speaker. 180 power of the deputy speaker or other person to perform the duties of the office of or to act as speaker. Article 120 181, the Speaker or the Deputy Speaker not to preside while a resolution for his removal from office is under consideration. The same thing what we had for Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Article 182, the Chairman and Deputy Chairman of the Legislative Council. Article 183, vacation and resignation of and removal from the offices of the Chairman and Deputy Chairman. Article 184, power of the Deputy Chairman or other person to perform the duties of the office or to act as Chairman. Article 185, the Chairman or the Deputy Chairman not to preside while a resolution for his removal from office is under consideration. Article 186, salaries and allowances of the Speaker and Deputy Speaker and the Chairman and Deputy Chairman. Article 187, Secretariat of State Legislature. Then conduct of business in state. We are studying about the part 6 of the Indian Constitution. 188, Article 188, oath or affirmation by members. Article 189, voting in houses, power of houses to act notwithstanding vacancies and quorum. Now disqualification of members. Article 190 is vacation of seats. 191 is disqualification for membership. Article 192, decision on questions as to disqualifications of members. Article 193, penalty for sitting and voting before making oath or affirmation under Article 188 or when not qualified or when disqualified. Powers, privileges and immunities of state legislatures and their members. Article 194, powers, privileges etc. of the houses of legislatures and of the members and committees thereof. Article 195, salaries and allowances of members. Then legislative procedure. We have it. Article 196, provisions as to introduction and passing of bills. Article 197, restriction on powers of legislative councils as to bills other than money bills. Special procedure in respect of money bills. Definition of money bills comes under what? Article 199 under part 6. Assent to bills is Article 200. Article 201, bills reserved for consideration. Procedure in financial matters. Like we had Article 112, same way Article 202, annual financial statement. Article 203, procedure in legislature with respect to estimates. Article 204, appropriation bills. 205, supplementary, additional or excess grants. Article 206, votes on accounts, votes of credit and exceptional grants. Article 207, special provisions as to financial bills. Procedure generally. Article 208, rules of procedure. 209, regulation by law procedure in the legislature of the state in relation to financial business. Article 210, language to be used in the legislature. 211, restrictions on discussion in the legislature. 212, courts not to inquire into proceedings of the legislature. Chapter 4, legislative power of the governor. Article 213, power of governor to promulgate ordinances during recess of legislature. Chapter 5 deals with high courts in the states. We have already discussed about the Supreme Court. Let's study about the high courts in the states. Article 214, high courts for states. Article 215, high courts to be courts of record. Article 216, constitution of high courts. 217, appointment and conditions of the office of a judge of a high court. Article 218, application for certain provisions relating to Supreme Court to high courts. 219, oath or affirmation by judges of high courts. 220, restriction on practice after being a permanent judge. Article 221, salaries etc. of judges. 222, transfer of a judge from one high court to another. 223, appointment of acting chief justice. Article 224, appointment of additional and acting judges. Article 224A, appointment of retired judges at sittings of high courts. Article 225, jurisdiction of existing high courts. 226, power of high courts to issue certain writs. And Article 226A is repealed. Article 227, power of superintendence over all courts by the High Court. 228, transfer of certain cases to High Courts. 228A repealed. 229, officers and servants and the expenses of High Courts. 230, extension of jurisdiction of High Courts to Union Territories. Article 231, establishment of a common High Court for 2 or more states. 232 is omitted. Chapter 6 is your subordinate courts. 233 appointment of district judges, 233A validation of appointments of and judgments etc. delivered by certain district judges, 234 is recruitment of persons other than district judges to the judicial service, 235 control over subordinate courts, 236 interpretation, article 237 is application of the provisions of this chapter 10 to certain class or classes of magistrate. Now we move to part 7, the states in part B of the first schedule, article 238, it is repealed. Then part 8, we study all the 8 states, 8 union territories, and all the union territories are studied under part 8. So the union territories, article 239 administration of union territories, article 239A creation of local legislatures or council of ministers or both for certain union territories, article 239AA special provisions with respect to Delhi. Delhi has a special provisions under the Union Territory Act. That provision comes under article 239AA. Then we have article 239AB provision in case of failure of constitutional machinery, article 239B power of the administrator to promulgate ordinances during recess of the legislature, article 240 power of president to make regulations for certain union territories, article 241 high courts for union territories, article 243 is repealed. Now we study about panchayat, which is contained in part 9. But before we discuss part 9, all of you must finish up to part 8. We will hold the next session, next class, when we discuss part 9 of the Indian Constitution, part 9 and hopefully part 10 also, part 9A also. 9 consists of panchayat and 9A consists of the municipalities. We will discuss them in our next class. Thank you for attending.